Hi, my name is Kyle Kampsen, and welcome to the Atmospheric Sciences 231 Extra Credit Briefing. I'll start out with the current conditions for today, July 16th. Looking at the surface analysis chart, you can see that there's a high pressure system just north of North Dakota, and there's another one actually in South Minnesota, and another one over in the western area of our region as well. There's a cold front down south in north of South Dakota, but that doesn't affect us. Taking a look at the upper level chart, you can see that we are under that high pressure system. The winds are going clockwise and they're pretty light. As you would expect with a high pressure system, there's no IFR conditions that you need to worry about and relatively no turbulence in the whole region. Looking at the upper air chart, you can see that the jet stream, even though it's not depicted directly above North Dakota, the trend of it is going from the northwest down to the southeast of North Dakota at about 90 knots at 34,000 feet to about 36,000 feet. And there's no cumulonimbus clouds that you need to worry about in our area. Taking a look at the visible satellite, you can see that that high pressure system is really taking effect because there's no clouds in our area in the state of North Dakota. Taking a look at the infrared satellite, there's nothing that affects our area at the time. Just interestingly enough, you can see that there's some clouds with really high tops down in the southern area of South Dakota. The water vapor chart confirms this as well. There's nothing to worry about in our area, but down in the southern part of South Dakota, there's quite a bit of moisture. So if you decide to fly down to Nebraska tonight, you might want to take a look at that. Looking on radar, you can see that moisture we were just talking about in the south part of South Dakota has a couple of cells that is associated with it. So unless you're flying down to South Dakota, there's not much that you really need to worry about. Convective segments at the time are just down in that south part of South Dakota. There's nothing up that we need to worry about up in Grand Forks. It is worth noting, at least, that most of the north part of the country, there's a very widespread forecast of turbulence at 25 to 43,000 feet. I don't believe this is going to be a problem for any part of North Dakota, and especially Grand Forks, as it's not even depicted as in that forecast. I really like to stress the importance of taking a look at the icing charts, just in case you're flying around any kind of convective activity or large clouds, just because you don't want to get icing on your airplane. And it's always good to know where the supercooled large droplets are. You can see in this chart that there are no SLD threats in our area in North Dakota, and basically most of South Dakota as well. If you do decide to fly down south, there is a line that you're going to want to look out for, so make sure that you plan your altitude accordingly to that. Taking a look at the PIREPs for turbulence in our area, there's only one and it reports that there's negligible turbulence. I will now take a chance to talk to you about the forecast conditions for the rest of the night and tomorrow. Taking a look at the front's pressure and weather, you can see that all the way through tomorrow evening, there's going to be no significant weather that affect our area, mostly because of this high pressure system that you see in the eastern part of Minnesota that moved all the way from the western part of North Dakota throughout the day. You might want to take a look if you're going to fly tomorrow night. Take a look later on because that weather might come through the western part and into the eastern part, into Grand Forks. Looking at the upper air prognostic chart, you can see that most of what we looked at earlier stays relatively the same as that high pressure system moves by. The jet stream stays relatively in the same area at 34,000 feet to 39,000 feet at about 90 knots to 100 knots. And there's no cumulonimbus clouds in our area or even relatively close to our area. Through tomorrow afternoon, there's going to be no thunderstorms in the whole state of North Dakota and Minnesota that you need to worry about, and basically the same for South Dakota, unless you're flying all the way down through the south part of the state. If you decide to fly west tomorrow, you might want to take a quick look at the icing, and if you fly west, you might want to take a look at turbulence. We'll take one more look at the general upper air chart for tomorrow. You can see that the high pressure system, as that moves eastward, a low pressure system is going to follow that. So moving into Wednesday, the day after tomorrow, you might want to keep an eye on the weather if you decide to go fly. The TAP for tomorrow shows that in Grand Forks and Fargo, it is the perfect day to go fly unless you want to practice crosswind landings. Shows that there's going to be few at 4,000 clouds and variable at 5 knots for both Fargo and Grand Forks. I hope this weather briefing gave you a good depiction of what the weather is supposed to look like tonight and tomorrow, and hopefully it sparked your interest to go fly since it's going to be really good weather. Thank you for watching my briefing. Have a good day.